12 on Wednesday, October 2nd, 2024. We started a little bit late. Maybe we'll go a little bit late. With me this morning, Randy, the genealogist Rhodes. All roads lead to home genealogy services. There's an All Roads Lead to All Roads Lead to Home Genealogy group on Facebook, and all roads lead to destinations of your ancestors. No, did I still butcher it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the groups are All Roads Lead to Home Genealogy, and On the Roads to Discovering Ancestors.
Okay.
That's my Sunday broadcast.
That is the Sunday broadcast. And you need to make sure you are watching the Sunday broadcast because it's really good. But you also need to make sure you're watching Tuesdays and Thursdays at 12 noon, Straight Talk with Randy and Jen. Did I mess it up? Tuesdays and Thursdays, 12 noon Eastern, yep. All roads. No, excuse me. Straight Talk with Randy and Jen.
No. Gosh, she'll get upset. Straight Talk with Jen and Randy. It's her show.
Oh, well, you changed it on me then.
No. It's always been that way. She wanted the show, and when she first started talking about it, she said, "How about Straight Talk with Randy and Jen?" I said, "No, if this is going to be your show. It's going to be Straight Talk with Jen and Randy." So it's her show. Okay. She runs the primary part of the show, and then I just kind of fill in the gaps.
Yep. She was very complimentary in the green room yesterday. I think she said that she may have actually said it on the broadcast, I don't remember, that you bring the videos and the stuff that people want to see, and she has the audio track covered, for lack of putting it. Words are not coming into my mouth this morning. I apologize. The question that I was going to start the broadcast with was, what do you do when you realize that you are out of coffee and you're going to start a morning caffeine program? Well, then I remembered that Donna said to me that Angela said I could have some of her Colombian roast coffee. So Donna's in the kitchen making me a large Colombian iced coffee, which will be fine to get me started today. Then we'll run out, and I'm sure I'll buy coffee somewhere while we're out and about to, if I think I need it anymore. For some of you on Social Security disability as well as on Social Security, it's the 2nd of October, and you might have gotten paid today. If not, you get paid tomorrow. If you get paid at the beginning of the month. I guess it's all messed up with Social Security and SSDI that I guess there are actually different paydays for different people throughout the month.
It's based on your name. Okay. My wife gets hers on the 2nd Wednesday, and I get mine on the 3rd Wednesday.
Yeah. See, I've always gotten mine on the I think it was the 5th is what they told me I would get it on, but then I always got it on the 3rd, and now recently it seems I get it on the 2nd. But a lot of banks get it the night before, and they put it into your account. They don't usually release it until like 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. on the 3rd. So,
the sad thing about the way we get paid is that the rent for the house I'm in is due by the 3rd. Yep. And if I don't pay by the 3rd, his bank, the landlord's bank, charges me $10 a day.
Ouch.
Yeah. So by the time my wife, my wife's check isn't quite big enough to cover the rent, and all the utilities come due on that week. So her check always pays the utilities, and my check pays the rent. And, sometimes we look at $200-$300 in late fees. So, ouch. Yeah, so we got fed up with it, and his bank said they're tired of me paying late, so if we don't do something different soon, they're going to force him to evict us. So I
don't even know if they have the authority to do that.
Well, there's no way I'm going to challenge it. So
No. I know, but I mean, I don't think a bank, because a landlord has an account at their bank.
Well, see,
I don't think the bank has any say in whatever other than yeah.
see what happens. See what happens is he explained it to me is that he owns like close to 50 houses. Okay, and they're
Right.
nice. They're very nice houses,
Yep.
and he has a mortgage that has three houses on it, which was one of mine. So mine plus two of the houses are one of his mortgages. So if I pay my rent late, then he's paying the mortgage late to the bank. So what we
But
did
that's
was we were able to uh, postpone a couple of our other normal bills. They were very
okay.
nice about it, and we actually scraped it together, and we actually paid him an entire month ahead of time.
Yeah.
So now he has the money before he
Right.
needs it, and
But
the
if
late fees are gone.
okay, but there are three houses you said on the loan that he has your mortgage on. If the other two pay late, do you get penalized?
I don't know. That's a good question because I understand that I won't say much about, but the two
No, I know.
houses, are down the street from where I live, and from what I've been told, the individuals living in that house are not, up to the what's I say, they're not like me as far as
Okay.
the way we live and decency and so forth.
Yeah.
So they may be paying late. I don't know, but I'm not going to challenge his
No,
bank.
no, no. I know.
Uh,
No one wants to do
it's,
that.
it's kind of
I,
it's kind of
I,
hard. It's kind of hard to relocate with seven cats.
no, and it would be kind of hard for us to relocate if we had to. But our landlord, fortunately, is the owner of the house, and she's the president of the HOA, or in our case, the TOA, the tenants association. But so I always roll over. That's usually the first thing I do out of my check once I see it's in the bank is pay the landlord. And the only reason that I say that is because I have said it before and I'll say it again. Your rent, if you own or if you owe rent or your home, is the most important thing you have these days. Granted, there are all kinds of things that Kamala Harris wants to do to screw you out of it so that BlackRock can buy it, so that BlackRock can rent it, because BlackRock wants to become the largest renting landlord in the United States of America. And hopefully they plan to take every home and make it rentable. I want to see what happens with them
Oh my
with
gosh.
squatters, because if say you have a mortgage on your home and squatters have moved in some states squatters have more rights than the actual mortgagee, and they can take over your home. Here in Florida, I don't know the exact names of the exact laws, but I believe Governor DeSantis and the state assembly changed that so that a squatter cannot move in to your property and then turn around and tell you that it is theirs.
Yeah.
Uh,
We did finally qualify for a VA mortgage, but when the guy came back and said how much the monthly was going to be, it's like, good God, no. But they wanted $2,000 a month for the mortgage, and there's no way I could afford that. So, fortunately, like I said before, fortunately, now he already told us he's going to be raising his rent. So if he does it like he did last time, like $50 every year, Claudette and I, and obviously you, get an increase in our Social Security. So, as long as Social Security keeps going up every year, we maintain fine with his increases because of the way he does it. So we'll always have a house over our head. My only concern is this, and I hate talking about, but if I die first, and I hate even the thought of dying, but if I die first, my wife gets my paycheck, which would be enough to keep her in this house, but would not be enough
but
to provide for
she
other.
gets your paycheck, but not if you're on SSDI.
Yeah, she does. She'll get that. So she'll
You're
get this. So
you're okay. Normally, your SSDI is not is not. Survivor benefits don't include your SSDI. Your SSDI stops being paid when you pass away. If you have straight Social Security and yours is more than your wife's, and she's drawing it because she's old enough to draw it, then she can draw yours. She doesn't draw hers because yours is more. That's how my mother had done it. But as far as I know, I could be wrong, but they've told me repeatedly that SSDI is not survivor benefits on Social Security don't include your SSDI. They just stop paying it. But I could be wrong, and they change it all the time. And Jerry Michaels is watching. I invited him to come on if you wanted to. Can't this AM Dave, got cleanup to do, but thanks. So everybody who would have liked to have Jerry Michaels on the broadcast with us tonight, it's Wednesday, so 7 o'clock tonight. Go to the American Rebellion group, the American Rebellion blogger page here on Facebook, and watch and be in the live chats, and go to Winkin and watch it, or go to Winkin and watch it over there and be in the live chat over there. The American Rebellion is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm there lately. Randy has popped in, or usually there. Jen Woodruff is there lately. Maybe Robert Wallace, the Minnesota Madman, may find some time to come and join us.
So I just checked, and my wife would get the check.
Okay, well then that like I said, that's new to me. Then maybe they changed it. Maybe they changed it, and I'm wondering if they changed it just because they're giving Social Security to those who aren't entitled to it and don't deserve it. And now if they're giving it to your wife, they're not giving it to, if you pass away, they're not giving it to someone who doesn't deserve it, who didn't own it. Now Michael Anthony says you're right. So I don't know, Michael, is it I'm right that it's not your wife doesn't get it if you're getting SSDI, or is Randy right? Because Randy is saying that according to them, Social Security, it says he gets them. Matter of fact, if you want to, Michael, you're more than welcome to come on to the broadcast. You're always welcome. I will send you a link. It'll take me about 35 seconds, and you're more than welcome to join us if you wish. We're just talking about whatever comes out of our mouths, politics, and a lot of interesting stuff like that. So let's move on from Social Security right now, because I don't even know if most of our people are in the age of getting it. You're usually our news guy. I wanted to ask you what you thought about the debate last night, because I'm assuming you watched it. I watched about 35 seconds of it.
Yeah.
And like I said, I made a comment on Jerry's broadcast last night that Tim Walz is why I think tampons were created and one belonged in his mouth lately. So I really couldn't even stomach more than about the 35 seconds that I watched. But go ahead with your comments on it.
Yeah, he swept the floor, meaning Vance. Waltz, the after effect, the people are saying, well, Waltz very seldom ever talks to the news people, and going into the debate, they could see how he was nervous. And when he was asked questions, he didn't know how to answer them. But Vance did a hell of a job and just cleaned this guy's choppers. Yeah, so the win goes to Vance. I watched just the snippets of it. I wasn't stay up that late. I was working on some family researches, and what I saw was Vance did a very good job of answering questions. I guess one of the questions that were asked is, I guess at some point prior to Vance being chosen as vice president, he was saying bad things about Trump, and he said that what happened was she was being misled by the media, because media was reporting all these things about Trump, and when he actually did his own research on it, to find out that the media was lying, and that's why he changed his mind about Trump, and that's why he was happy to be on board. But he did clean the guy's choppers. I'm looking at the news feed here on the one monitor, and I'm looking at this really sad story about the hurricane, and we all of us have our problems, but none of us can compare our problems to those who are suffering from the hurricane after effects. And specifically, this one family here, uh, in North Carolina, they lost three of their children in the flood. The youngest being 7 years old. Uh,
Mm,
they died in the floods.
I'm
Um,
sorry to hear that. Our thoughts and prayers go to the family and all the families that had to put up with Helene and all the damage she inflicted.
it's just and it's a shame that, as far as I know, our president and vice president and president to be the Democrats have not yet gone to any of the hurricane inflicted states to just hand out water or do dump something stupid. Uh, they claim they're waiting to it all kind of like calms down and they won't cause any problems with their motorcade and so forth.
Uh,
That's just bullshit
but
excuse.
Joe Biden said that he was on the phone with, I believe, Kamala Harris for 2 hours yesterday and 2 hours the day before talking about it. And the only thing I can say is that I heard, and I believe it was Georgia. It might not have been Georgia, but I believe it was Georgia, that President Trump was in Georgia yesterday passing out supplies to people, brought in a tanker of gasoline. I don't know how that was going to be dispersed because a lot of Georgia gas stations were out of gas due to it. But, you know, I'm sure that's what he would have done as president, and the federal government would have paid for it, or maybe he would have just paid for it himself. That's what a humanitarian does. A humanitarian, says, hey, you're down, I can help you out. I'm going to send you a tanker full of gas. I'm going to send you truckloads full of supplies, food. I'm going to come down and walk there and see if there's anything else I could do. I bet if there were Trump hotels in the area and they were empty, he would have said, by all means, come check in to a Trump hotel for a couple of days. And, you may have to check out in a couple of days, but come at least get settled with the post hurricane and storms in your area. Have a nice meal, and
Yeah,
move others in and do the same thing, as opposed to I don't know what the Biden regime had planned. I don't know what the Department of Homeland Security was doing to protect our home, because they're not going to protect our homes from the storms and from hurricanes because they're not protecting our border, which is
yeah,
our home.
yeah. So here's another story about the flood. The town of Chimney Rock, North Carolina, is totally gone.
Yep.
The town is just wiped away.
Just,
Yeah, and then
and that's the difference between the level of leadership. It's not like Kamala Harris or President Biden could say, I can't get there today because I have something else that is more important, or if Biden couldn't get there, that he didn't send Harris. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Oh,
Trump always seemed to drop what he was doing and at least get on the phone with people there if he couldn't actually get there, and then he got there as soon as he could. And let me just scroll here one more. One of these days, I'm going to get a live producer to do some of that stuff for me. But we're live on the Dave Globin profile here on Facebook. We are live on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel. Both have live chats. I tell people, spice up your life every once in a while. Go watch it over on YouTube and be in the YouTube live chat. And I'll read your comments to the people on Facebook. And if you're on Facebook, I'll read your comments to anybody on YouTube that is watching. Our chats aren't quite interfaced the way that they're supposed to be on Facebook because there's something called Facebook API, and I don't know if it's programming or something that Facebook has to grant. And if they did, then all of the groups that are seeing the broadcast live, all of their chats would be made one and sent to my screen, and everybody could be acknowledged for taking part in the broadcast today. Robin Brunson's taking part. Michael Anthony is taking part. Jerry Michaels is taking part. Chuck Cook, who watches a lot, is taking part. And Jay Clark is watching. And I said good morning to Jay. I like to say good morning to people or good evening to people who are watching, because that just means that you're watching, but you're not in the live chat or you're not taking part in the live chat. I don't really know the technicalities, but, come on in. You can't say anything stupid. We try hard to not go off on anybody. At least I do go off on anybody when you make a comment. I have a bad history of doing that, so you don't always have to believe me, but, the point of the broadcast is hearing what people have to say, and my wanting you to understand, if you're watching, that you have a right to say how you feel, and you have a right to disagree with the people that you see on your screen, including me. And on that note, we get back to today's testimony. Michael didn't answer me if he wanted the link to join the broadcast, so assuming he didn't. Excuse me, I missed it. I'm sorry I cut you off, Randy. I missed it. Michael did just say email him the link, so I will do that. Give me just a moment. So go ahead, Randy.
I was going to say that Iran may have made a big mistake by launching 180 rockets into Israel. Fortunately, between the American destroyers and the Israeli Iron Dome, they shot down most of the missiles. So some did manage to get through. And Israel is stated that there will be a retaliation against Iran. So we may still be looking at a World War III scenario coming up here next couple of days, depending on how, if no one can calm these two countries down. And I'm sorry, Israel has the right to respond to Iranians' attack on Israel. I mean, it's a little bit different when Iranian government is supplying weapons to Hamas or whoever, and they're the ones attacking Israel. Could be similar to how, the United States is giving weapons to Ukraine. Russia could, in theory, attack the United States because we're helping Ukraine fight Russia. Same scenario here with Iran supplying weapons to Hamas. Israel's just fighting Hamas, but now that Iran has themselves launched an attack on Israel, Israel now has the right to attack Iran. And of course, if that happens, then Iran has their own, countries who will come to their defense. So maybe the spark that begins World War III. I hope not, but next few days will tell.
I could see Iran doing something, hoping that maybe Joe Biden comes out of hiding and does something as president. And I don't know if he has the authority to just say there won't be an election this year, or if it has to go to Congress. And the Republicans have the House, the Democrats have the Senate. Kamala Harris has the tie-breaking vote if it's a tie in the Senate. But personally, I can't see Democrats or Republicans voting for a nuclear war and giving Biden the declaration of war that he needs. And I can't see Joe Biden, even if he really wants to end the United States of America, I can't see Joe Biden getting into a war with Iran. Because if Iran's allies who have nukes, or Iran's a very wealthy country, if they buy nukes for everybody, all of their allies, they're out to kill everybody. They're not out to win the war. They're out to kill everybody. And they will take, Michael Anthony, I just sent you the link. Try it. And if it doesn't work, let me know, and I will feed it to you a different way. But then I'm waiting to see your camera pop up on the screen.
So let's go to the Bible for a moment. People have been discussing the Bible and its relative association, whether or not it's relative for today's world. Um, you know, I've said before that over a period of time, civilizations will attack and destroy their enemy, wiping out, the civilization, or leveling the cities and towns, sort of like what's happening with Ukraine right now, and what's happening again in Israel. And the winner of the war will come in and build on top of what they destroyed. Okay, and that happens again, and it happens again, and it happens again, like with Israel. Okay, the amount of attacks that the people of Israel have sustained since the very beginning of creation. So you have all these various levels. Okay, almost like if you took a 60 story building and squished it down into the ground, so the 60 stories are below ground. That's what you have in Israel right now. You have city upon city upon city upon city upon city. So what happened just recently is that they're doing some excavation work to, make things look nice or whatever. And here they found uh, uh, parts of a Christian church. They found some pottery. They found some clothing, and they found the 1,500-year-old marble shrine that the engravings on it depict Moses receiving the Ten Commandments, which is absolutely phenomenal discovery. So, if you ever had any questions about the Ten Commandments, this and I don't know if I can share it or not, but this ivory marble shrine has a man reaching upwards like this, like he's receiving the Ten Commandments, um, and it's inspiring. And this is not this. I mean, that's why I get the biblical archaeology magazine, because they're always finding stuff.
Yeah.
Say what you want about history, about the winners destroying and wiping out civilizations. You're never truly wiped out. There's always something left behind for another generation to find. And that's what we have happening right now all around us, folks. So if you had any questions about the Bible's being real, the words in it being real, uh, just start looking online for biblical archaeology, and that's proof right there. And it's not fake. It's not someone's interpretation. It's not the left, having wokeism. This is physical stuff that they're finding that have all the engravings, the carvings, the words, whatever, carved into it to prove the reality of what it actually is. Um, Michael's still asking where's his link. I wonder if I can. I wonder if I can send my link to him. Hold on a second.
Well, You can't send it to him. Well, I don't know. You can't send it to him on Messenger. You have to email it to him, which is what I did. And I show that, but it's on the screen. So actually, yeah, it is on the screen. Yeah, it's actually on the screen, but I don't know. Look and see. I mean, look, try to open it again.
Michael, I just sent it to you. See if it works.
Yep. Yeah, I have not been able to send it to him over Facebook Messenger for a long time. I've had to email it to him.
I just sent it to you. See if it works.
So try it, Michael. See if it works. Maybe it's back, but there was a period where I was not able to send you links over Messenger. So I have not done that. I'm watching to see if you get in there, but let me see if I can send it to you on Messenger.
I just sent it to him. He should be able to piggyback off of mine.
All right, Michael. I just sent it to you, Michael. So Randy sent it to you. I sent it to you, and you're more than welcome to come in and join us. Best we can do.
So here's something weird. Talking about the war in Ukraine. One article says that Ukraine attacked Russia and did quite a number on them, destroying a lot of their territory. And then Russia says and has a video showing that their attack was able to secure a Ukrainian stronghold, which is supposed to be impregnable. But Russia was able to attack, destroy, and take control of it, placing their flags on top of the tallest building. So it's a back and forth scenario with Russia and Ukraine as far as who's winning this damn war. I just wish they get it over with. And you're muted.
I was muted. Michael, I show that it was sent by email, and I also show that it was sent. Randy sent it to you on Messenger. I sent it to you on Messenger, and I show that it was emailed to you. Also, it's in the link itself is in the comments. So if you want to just take it and type it into your browser, you should be able to send it that way. We have no control over whether or not, if we send it over Gmail, we have no control that you'll get it. If we send it over Messenger to a person, we have no control that they can be able to use it. So we have tried it, and if it works and you can come on, awesome. You're more than welcome anytime. But it is on the screen in the YouTube live chat. It is on the screen in the Facebook live chat. I have to go back to making it a banner across the bottom of the screen. Good morning, David Novar. I'm glad to have you watching this morning, as well as everyone else. And I'm sorry I cut you off, Randy. We're talking about the Bible and Iran possibly nuking Israel. I personally want to believe that no one of Israel's enemies would ever actually nuke them for one of two reasons. One, you're nuking God's chosen people. So when you get to heaven, you got to believe that those a bunch of virgins aren't going to be waiting for you. And when you get to hell, there probably won't be anything waiting for you except the eternal flame. And all of Israel's allies who might not even show that they're allies or say that they're allies, like Saudi Arabia. I think if anybody nuked Israel, Saudi Arabia would probably unleash on them, even Iran. But I could be wrong. I don't know.
So I'm looking on the my second news feed, and they're talking about the last night's debate, and uh, the Outkick founder Clay Travis posted on X on who he is. He said that J.D. Vance absolutely destroyed Tim Walz. This was a massacre. That seems to be the general consensus among all the other media people too. That he absolutely destroyed Waltz, and that's not what you want to hear if you're running for election, unless of course you're for the other side. I don't know. With everything that's going on, you have the Teamster strike, you have the damage from Ukraine, from Ukraine. You have the damage from the hurricane. You have 5 nations at war with each other, possibly going into World War III. We got the election coming up. The next 60 days or so is going to be a mess.
The Teamsters strike could hurt us the most, I think, as we were talking last night on the American Rebellion, that, Teamsters are the train engineers, they're the truck drivers, the independent truck drivers, and if they all go on strike, nothing's moving in this country. So forget about the high prices of what is at your grocery store and having to save money however you can to afford to shop. There won't be anything there to shop for.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing the shelves are empty.
It'll get worse, because if any of the Brotherhood of Electrical Workers or Communication Workers of America, those are usually phone company and cable company techs, if they walk out in a sympathy strike, we could lose phones, we could lose internet, we could lose, So, I mean, I watched Farley. I can't remember his last name, but Farley was on doing a video yesterday, and he was spot on. This, if you're not stocked up by now, you could be in trouble.
Yeah.
If you didn't prep, didn't heed the warning to prep, and prepping doesn't mean, you have to go out and buy a grocery store and stock it in your garage. If you got a couple of freezers out in your garage with meat and, you got canned goods stocked somewhere, you're good for some period of time. I don't know how long, but that's if you didn't heed the warning. I'm not saying that if you were dying on the street and you didn't have anything to eat, and I had a freezer full of meat, I wouldn't take you over to it and give you what I could give you and hope that other people would do the same thing. But, it's going to come down to, if it's hard to get stuff, people are going to say, no, what's mine is mine and what's yours is yours. And, you got to fend for yourself, and that's terrible. But, none of that's going to happen, because everybody's going to go to the polls and they're going to vote for Trump. And they're going to vote for Trump just because the Democrats are so messed up, period. Trump's a gentleman. He debated Kamala Harris, and he didn't wear an earphone. His lapel pin wasn't somebody listening other than his Secret Service detail, listening, and they weren't telling him the answers to give. And we don't know for sure whether or not Kamala was listening to something. It's a theory that might be proven one day, might not be proven one day, but it doesn't matter if it's proven one day, because the damage was already done. And if ABC News, David Muir, and the lady were accused of doing wrong things, then maybe they don't do debates anymore. Maybe they should be terminated by ABC for violating their contracts and whatever else. But I don't know, Randy. What else? What else is in the serious news today?
I mean, I've just been going through here, and it's like I said before, Ukraine claims that they attacked and destroyed and seized a Russian stronghold, and then on the other, browser, because I'm using between Chrome, Safari, and Edge. The one browser says that Russia attacked and destroyed and seized a Ukrainian stronghold, and the other one's saying the exact same thing for them, seizing a Russian stronghold. So, I mean, this is back and forth. The United States is moving another aircraft carrier group. Michael said he's there.
Okay, wait a minute. Yep, he is there. Hold on. I'm sorry. I took my eye off the cameras. So let me roll down and bring in Michael. Modern technology at its best. Good morning, Michael. I'm glad that you're here with us.
That took forever.
It did. I looked and the email went through. I sent it to you on a link, but I couldn't get an answer from you to let me know whether or not you got it on Messenger. Randy sent it, but I apologize. We do what we do, and sometimes it's hard. If I had to, I would have jumped in my car, drove down to Pennsylvania, and had you in the studio with us tonight. Today. But I'm glad that you're here.
Okay, thanks. What's up? Yeah, Rand, I had to work off what you sent me. It took like 10 tries. It's just unreal how bad and how poorly technology really works, but who can say why? I don't know. Maybe it's this restream. Maybe it's my device.
I think it's
anyway, tell me something good. What's going on good in the world?
You tell us something good.
Donald Trump is going to get reelected. Okay.
No.
Sorry. Go ahead, Randy. I cut you off. Go ahead, Randy.
No, I'm sorry. I don't see it happening. And I hate to be the doubter and the person that says bad things, so I'm not going to. But I can only say this, if you put Kamala Harris and Waltz on a stage, and you put Trump and JD Vance on the stage, okay. Obviously, the intelligence level goes to the Trump team because they are the more intelligent of the two of the other team.
Team common sense,
right? So if you look at conversational wise, Kamala Harris can't really talk a clear and concise conversation. At the same token, Trump has some issues, maintaining a level conversation because he always goes back. I don't know if he has started dementia or whatever, but he's a lot like you, Dave, where he starts going back, talking about things from the past that was success for him, and he tries, and he doesn't really answer the questions. He kind of goes round and about. I'm not saying that might just be the way he is. I mean, obviously he's at the head of a multi-billion-dollar business. So you got to, and I assume he has people in charge of trying to help him run that business. But he doesn't seem to be able to maintain a conversation as a whole. Now, JD Vance, that's where his strength is. He's able to communicate and talk and maintain, the conversation on track. Whereas Waltz, it's like Kamala Harris. She just doesn't know how to talk and express himself to the news media. So, when you look at it that way, you would think the Trump team is going to win. But the Democrats, still on the left, have a lot to lose. If Trump gets in the White House, he's promised to charge these people with treason, and rightfully so. So they can't afford to have him get in the White House because they're going to be exposed for what they did, and they'll probably have to pay the consequences. So they'll do whatever it takes to. Well, I mean, I guess from our understanding, there's like elections already taking place. Some preliminary early voting going on right now. Um, and I will say this. Here's a good sign. I've been in this house 10 years, okay? And every year, every time there's an election going on, the Democrats always show up at my doorstep because why? Well, my daughter, she's a Democrat. Um, but they always show up and they hand out their flyers and they talk and they smile and they say goodbye, have a nice day. Never has there been a Republican at my doorstep except today. Today, the guy came to my house. He talked to us. He was very nice. He handed us some flyers about Trump. So maybe that's a good sign for us.
Okay.
What do you think?
What do I think? Well, hey, people judge Dave every day. People judge you, Randy, every day. People judge Michael Anthony every day. Some people think we're all assholes. Some people may think only you're one, Randy. Some may say it's me. My point to this is, and there is a point, we are all judging everybody. And that's the divide in this country that's breaking it apart and killing it. I agree with certain circumstances, but some of us cannot maintain our anger at times when we're confronted with questions and lies. And I think Trump has found himself at times, only at times, where he finds himself within that because of the diversity of what they push on him and the punishment that they try to, lay upon his doorstep every day. Wow, the dogs are loud today, man. They went in on the conversation.
Yeah, they do. They do. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So anyway, with that said, look, we're all guilty of something, but the guy has a great track record. Are they going to fight tooth and nail? Of course. We're going to be in the darkest 30 days ever right now. They started last night in the East.
Could you mute your mic?
Yep, hold on.
Yeah, it really is extremely loud.
There we go.
Okay, yeah, it's really hard to concentrate and focus when all that's coming through.
Yeah.
But, the truth of the matter is, Trump has done probably more interviews and conversations with people than anybody in the last 8 years, undoubtedly. And he's done quite well. He's kept his composure because there was equal fairness in front of him. When there's not equal fairness, he stands up for the country. He stands up for what he did. He stands up because of how his policies work. I would probably do the same thing and make a lot of the same mistakes, and I do it when I vent. And I'm loud when I vent. And sometimes when I talk politics. So I'm as guilty as the next guy, and the next guy's as guilty as me, and we're all guilty of the same thing. Where we really are at the end of the day here, though, is what are they going to do to prevent him from getting into office? How far will they go? How far will they punish us? We're seeing things happening. They're allowing the strike to occur. But now people are starting to say the preppers weren't so dumb after all. Maybe coming because of different things that are occurring, but prepping, how important is prepping? If this dock stays, shut down, 36 locations, 45,000 workers, if it goes 3 weeks, we will not be getting to the ships that we need to get to that will maintain resources for the United States of America till after January. So it's looking like a very bleak December because every 2 to 3 days is 2 to 3 weeks behind on offloading. So, we're seeing signs of problematic things that had occurred in 2020. under the administration coming in. You know, I'm not saying that Donald Trump is going to be the biggest prize, but I think he will take us into the future in a more positive manner. And it's going to be a difficult task to do. And he will probably get attacked and more threats on his life, even when he gets there. If he doesn't get there, then guess what? Everything you think you're going to have and pass on to your wife, Randy, it ain't going to happen, because they are going to eat up the money. They're going to eat up the Social Security. They're going to build the 3 million houses. They're going to get into a narrative that is so dark and devastating, we won't even be able to maintain and hold jobs. And that's the sad part. But on the bright light, and we do have a light, and Trump is a positive light, because he's only trying the best he can to keep hope and positivity into the focus. We, the people, are guilty of begging him to come back into this scenario. He may have just sat back if we weren't so demanding of him on how we approached him to come back, because he was sitting in the background. Probably a lot of things were eating in his soul, going through his mind. But think about who the guilty party is here. And it's us, because to us, there was nobody else to come back, and we had no other adversary to use to make America strong again, to make America great again. And, you know, I find it funny that everybody has a negativity side. After all, the majority of the people in the country said, come back, help save America once again. And he did. He stepped up to do it. And he's putting a lot on the line. We've witnessed it, from shots being fired, from attempts being made, and not just two. Things have happened in the past as well. And, you know, not everything makes news. It's sad. But, you know, I'm going to go with what we have, Randy and Dave. I don't see any other cure to a system. And I think if he gets in, he's going to take immediate actions. And, you know, if he gets in, if this doesn't go away somehow in the most negative way that anything could ever happen, it's all we got. And we accepted it when we called him back.
Michael, do you think that if something happens and 70-something-year-old Donald Trump is not reelected, do you think he'll throw his hands up and say, you know what, I tried my best, I couldn't get in, I'll be too old by the time 2028 rolls around? You know, I love everybody who asked me to come back and do it, but you know what? Will he ride off into the sunset? And if he does, will that be the end of democracy, freedom in the United States? Because I don't think we have a Republican, as a lot of people are starting to say now. I don't think we have one that's ready to stand up to them. J.D. Vance could not defeat Kamala Harris, I'm sure, if he ran against her. Or ran against him. I mean, maybe he could. I don't know.
I think he would have a fair shot. So would Kennedy, to be honest with you. But yeah, with Donald right off into the sunset, I probably at that point in time, yeah, was much disappointment. I'm sure that's all he would be able to do. What does one do in the moment of defeat? You know, I used to box a lot of years ago, kickbox, and you know, a couple times I had some teeth knocked on my throat. You get up, you fight more, you try harder. You don't always win, but it's a valuable lesson. Through loss, we get stronger because we learn from it. We learn from our mistakes. We learn how to go around things. And I think that's what happened in 2020 to Donald Trump in a way. And I think he's prepared. And the reason he stepped into this ring to go at it again was because I think he took a long look and spoke with a lot of great people that said, you learn from mistakes. We've all learned from mistakes, and we're going to have to do better the next time in. I do wonder what's in place to try to protect the steel. You know, I came up with a couple things on what he may or may not do. I don't know what's going to happen, and I could be perfectly wrong. But we do have to worry about not Trump losing, but them stealing. And I think that's the biggest scenario. So what do we do now? I think that's the most important focus, because last night Walz, no matter what he talked, he was doing the same type of rebuttal that Kamala Harris was doing. And when you look now into Pittsburgh, where it's named Sanctuary Pittsburgh, and other cities across the country are also starting to join in with that. And hey, Randy, here's a good one for you. The city of Pittsburgh just announced this morning they will no longer escort a president unless it's within the city limits. There will be no lights. There will be no sirens. It will be total disrespect. But
Yeah.
I bet you in a heartbeat, if Carmela won, the sirens would be ablazing.
Yeah, they started that. What's his face? Bill de Blasio started that when he was mayor of New York, and he said that it's not fair that the city of New York and the resident citizen taxpayers of New York should have to split with President Trump and the federal government, being the Secret Service and any others that they bring in to help them, the costs of protecting a president when he's home, which is pretty much why Trump looked at de Blasio and basically said, you know what, you're right, I'll move to Florida.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. And it's always been that, the city and the state and the federal government pay a third of the cost of getting a president in to see you. And it's kind of
but at least you see your tax dollars at work doing something. And if we don't start to protect the integrity of presidencies, the country's going to fail again. And it won't matter what side of why that had occurred.
Right.
That's just mind blowing. But I wanted to bring it up because if you Google Map Pittsburgh now, it's called Sanctuary Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
they have yet to make the final announcement for it. But to me, I think it's a directive towards the illegals that have entered the country, to where they can look up now, because they know before we did the sanctuary cities and where they were located. So, are they just giving direction to the illegals to come here? You're welcome here. We will support you. We will house you. We'll give you free health care. We'll give you a working American Social Security checks and welfare and licensing and anything else you want. But, there is a price to pay. It's called the voting price.
Okay, well, so they're saying that they're not going to provide police escort and so forth to the president. I'm going to assume they mean either President, Biden or Trump, so they come into the city. Correct?
That's correct.
So if that's correct, so they're going to diss the president of the United States, but not providing that protection, and they want to call themselves a sanctuary Pittsburgh. Then you know what? Then all the federal money that city gets should stop.
Well, I agree, but you have the control mechanism, which is them. They are controlling the federal government, and they're not going to cease to assist you in any way. They're going to go after and do what they feel works proper for them. So it's not about what we think, even though I do agree with you. They're going to just take different avenues like they have through the entirety of everything. I mean, nothing's going to change for the better this way, because, when you turn down the commander in chief of a country, you're kicking dirt in every American's face.
Yeah.
I mean, because we put a mirror, and we rely on our federal government to do what's proper. And in this case, it's another improperty of their display of lack of ability to run a country. And that's why nobody should vote for these people.
It's just another friggin' slap in the face by the left. At least they're giving equal treatment to Biden, Kamala, and waltz. If they were just doing it against Trump, then I would say even more so that that's another
We won't.
slap in
Yeah,
the face.
you're right. You're right. You're right. I got to throw this in just for an inch, and I apologize for doing this, Rand. But wouldn't it be amazing if we see a flip of the switch happen if Trump loses and she comes to visit? Because she's always here anyway. She's here. Pittsburgh is a gem of where they are running everything out of. They are utilizing Pennsylvania, Miss Harrisburg. Get it? You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up, brother. This is exactly the crown jewel of everything. So I think if we saw something to turn out in a way that we didn't want, don't cancel culture on all that. And they will then again implement and protect and change the rule of thumb again. It's only during the time they think something works for them. Hasn't it always in many ways been like that?
It has, but won't eventually what's happening in New York City with Sanctuary Mayor Eric Adams, where now he's in all kinds of trouble, and
beautiful.
He's in all kinds of trouble, and he went against his own by saying, "I don't want to be a sanctuary city anymore." Being a sanctuary city has destroyed. I mean, it's great when all the money pours in, but these 50 million illegals have destroyed my city. Not even President Trump wants to live here anymore. But
many people don't, Dave. You're absolutely right.
AOC is another one that's got to go, because anyone who has the balls to stand, even though Amazon is going to be peopleless one day, you got to figure that the tax revenue for an Amazon distribution center in your city has got to be a gold mine. Even just the taxes that they pay. Let's just say that it makes $1 billion a year, and they pay, I don't know, $100 million a year. It's $100 million you don't have. And think what you could do for your people with $100 million.
Or for yourself.
I believe he's in trouble, because what would have happened is that probably 50 of that 100 million would have gone to him, or did go to him. And that leads to all these other people, the Diddy thing. The comment I made the comment I did make on your post, on your broadcast yesterday, Michael, is you've said, we've said, Randy has said, everybody has said. It doesn't matter if you bleach your account on social media, because you said it and somebody copied it and somebody has it sitting on their hard drive. And the internet you can bleach your account, but you can't bleach the internet. So why are these people, Diddy turned out to be a bad dude. Why are these people now bleaching their accounts? It's like they're all going to be found, if Trump comes in and we get a new DOJ, these people are all going to rot in jail for the rest of their lives, and bleaching their account isn't going to do squat, or does it?
Right. Well, in desperate times calls for desperate measures. They're also running around trying to get attorneys to buy up the materials. Many attorneys want nothing to do with them. They just don't want to touch that topic. But and then when the tunnels come out and Club 11 comes out and Mike Stringberg comes out and these names like that, you probably know nothing about what I'm talking about. Wait till you see how London Bridge tumbles down on that one. Because it goes everywhere. It goes beyond. It goes to corporate CEOs. That's why they're dropping. I mean, there is a serious connection between higher up people, rich, wealthy CEOs, and opportunists, that this is all going to affect. It's part of the landmass of America that will drop as well. And just like what we've seen when we watched the island, the Epstein Island, and what happened there. And when you go back in time and you start debating, where did this all start from? Heidi Fleiss. And, a few people that's already sitting in jail over it that were in partnerships with her. and you'll see the Oprah fall, and you'll see Ellen DeGeneres fall. You will see people that you never imagined. And who are these people? They show their true colors the way they back Carmela in Chicago, and Hollywood backing by using their children. Like if it's in a Hollywood contract, if you want to work here forevermore, you will have all your children look a certain way, dress a certain way, and be a certain way because it's part of the contract to be here. And that's the rule of thumb, how they control the networking of everything. And it's just not this particular topic. It's every topic.
Yeah.
And wait till the tunnels come out, like I said. And there are those too through Hollywood, leading to many very interesting places, including Hefner's Mansion.
Yep. The sad thing is that we didn't have somebody on our side who put up $400 million to buy control of the 200 radio stations that are now sitting on George Soros' desk.
Yeah. But you know what? The sad thing is that we don't think that way. We don't think we need to take control of the media to get our word out. They don't do that. You know, the left does. The left has always done that.
But what will happen, hopefully, in some of those markets where now Soros owns a communist communication station, will be that hopefully another station whose ratings are in the toilet will look and see how the conservative talk station was doing, and probably doing well in these times with a full wallet of advertisers and ratings with people listening and people that people wanted to listen to, and say, hey, maybe we ought to try that. The problem with AM radio is that once your station goes bankrupt, you basically do whatever you got to do to keep it running because no one wants to buy it. No one wants to buy an AM radio station these days, unless, like Soros, you buy 200 million of them 200 of them at one time, and you get some control of the media. But
wait. So he bought AM stations, not FM stations?
No, right. He bought $400 million worth of debt from a company that owned. I believe this package is mainly AM stations, because normally talk radio, meaning conservative or communist talk radio, doesn't do well on FM. It does well on AM. There have been a lot of successful FM stations that have gone from playing music to doing sports talk, and they do fantastically well. But
okay, so let me ask you this then, and I don't know, so I'm asking you guys. You guys are supposed to be the professionals here. So if the shit hits the fan, let's say one of those bombs that takes out, electrical shit. Is in the time of war, is an AM station affected the same way an FM station would be affected?
Well, in theory, I think it's an EMS bomb. Michael might know the exact term. I think it's electromagnetic something. But if they fired, China knows that the first thing they want to do if they're going to go to war with us is knock out our global communication, so nothing gets into the United States and nothing gets out of the United States. Is that right, Michael?
Well, that would be a tactic that they could use, of course. Yeah. But remember, we're talking about Soros publications, networking, and AM would be important. And why is that factually true overall? Over the FM dial. If you're noticing anything right now, how many car companies' radio systems took FM and Sirius and Wi-Fi and put it into place over AM, and now, just very recently, within the past 30 days, there's a demand to bring back the AM dial. Yeah. I'm just saying, it works like this, and AM will come back now because, of course, Soros publications. They want to be the king of controllers, because if you can control the news and etc. and fake news and media on all the platforms, and then you can control the radio, you're pretty much isolating people to what only they will be allowed to hear if they choose to turn anything on at all in the future.
But just remember, though, Odyssey owned 200 radio stations. iHeart, who owns the most in the United States, owns 800. And they're AM and they're FM. So the odds are that, maybe he got an AM station in a market full of other AM stations. But like I said, I would think that the guys at iHeart would look at this and say, he's going to launch Communist Communications Radio Company in a station where we're on a station in a market that we were doing conservative talk in, and it was doing very well. So the guys at iHeart, if they own a radio station in that same city, they're just gonna do what they want to do. They'll buy it. They'll buy a station, or they'll get control of a station in that city, and they'll bring back conservative talk. It's not the death of conservative talk. The 200 stations that he bought, yeah, it probably hurts, but I don't think that any of those stations were doing particularly well wherever they were, or else the company wouldn't be $400 million in debt, because that's what he bought. He bought the debt. He didn't buy he actually didn't buy the radio stations. He bought the debt. The debt, of course, is secured by the radio stations, but
he wanted to control them. He wanted to control them, and he will do that because he's the creditor. And if people don't listen to what the control narrative is, then he will start, in fact, taking the radio stations from people. It's a corporate takeover. It's how it works. And then he'll sell off the pieces to the conglomerates and double his profitability, as well, making money off of it all. And if they do that, they're going to suppress the American people's voice into the future, to where we never can regain our strength again by them tearing it apart as they have. And this will just be another niche and their bedpost of how they do that.
Okay, but then now you make the move to include Oracle Radio in your portfolio of how you communicate.
Right.
They've got to be looking at this and going, we're not going away. I mean, if he has now control of a radio station that had us and had our conservative talk radio format, if he Soros dumps that and goes with Communist Communication Radio, there's got to be another station in that market that isn't going to want to sell to Soros, because they want that conservative talk format going, because they were making a lot of money with it. So they don't sell to Soros; they sell to Oracle, or if Oracle owns any radio and TV stations, and we keep going. I think it's just a shift. I think it's just a shift in what will happen with AM radio. I mean, for years now, people have thought AM radio was going to die. Would have died off by now, because FM was supposed to take over AM because the sound quality was better. This, that, the other thing. Sirius came along, and Howard Stern made a boatload of cash off of that. He moved over there and proved that people will go to private radio, which you can still listen to in your car, and
Yeah. Well, what these people need to worry about, in my mind, is how the contracts work, of where they're pinging their signal from and who owns these towers, whether it's AT&T, whether it's the federal government, emergency broadcasting systems. they all got their hands into it, so
Yeah.
you got to remember that too. So there's other ways to take the ones who will not join off the map, and that's by going to the bigger leaguers and saying, look, what do they pay you? Oh, well, they're giving us, let's just say, $5 million a year. Well, we're going to give you 10. Get rid of them. And what do you think these people who are going to still own everything they always had are going to do? They're going to kill. They're going to kill the signal to the radio station. The frequency dial is going to become determined as null and void. No longer has any existence. So there's not just one way of how they're going to do this. There's probably a dozen ways of how they can attack the method of this. But it all comes down to the same thing in many ways. They want to own everything, and we will have nothing. They will control the systems, and we will have to live within the systems and the conditions that they create.
Yeah.
And that's how the technology works. That's what AI is about. That's what tracking's about. Surveillances are about. This is all going to work together. It's all going to work together. It's the simulation of the 2030 that I don't think David Icke talks a lot about it. He really does. Hats off to that rock star. Because he's been out there for a lot of years, trying to push the information the best he could. And you see, when you do push hard and just don't sit back and take the money, like many sit back and just take the money and let their stardom and fan base grow because they want fans. That's how they earn money. You have ones with the true voice like Steve Bannon, who goes to jail, Alex Jones, who loses every penny he has, barely just, struggling to stay above the wave of the blue wave of that. And that's controversial, but that's how the system works. So, if you're not willing to make the deal and you want to have a voice, you can only have the voice that they want you to have. And we see why these people suffer, why, everybody that went to jail for some particular reason was because they were not willing to bend over to these people. And, when we look at like what happened in New York, just to bring that up, if they got rid of Como, they'll get rid of the mayor. And they needed to do what they did there. And I hope if Trump gets back in, that he has him at on top of the list somewhere to go after him.
You've heard that Andrew Cuomo, the former disgraced governor, is sniffing around New York City as wanting to throw his name in the race. I can't see how he thinks he will get elected. I mean, maybe he still has the Democrat machine that could get him elected mayor of New York, but I don't see it. I mean, Randy always says Giuliani should come back. I've met people here in Florida that truly whatever you call it, they live here 6 months. They live in New York 6 months. Now they're saying, no, they're just going to stay here. They're selling what they have in New York. It may take forever to sell it to get the price that they want, but they're leaving New York and they're coming to Florida because it's not New York. It's not Democrats.
Sovereign city, sovereign states, not sanctuaries. I don't know. What do you think, Rand?
When you look at the Democrat-controlled cities, you have New York, you have Pittsburgh, you have the state of California.
Philadelphia, Chicago, Wallstown.
I don't see the mayor of New York. He's going to catch some public attacks as far as conversations, as far as talking, as far as newsreels. I don't see him facing actual criminal charges because, like I said before, he, just like Hillary and others like her, have information about other Democrat people in big power. And I would have to think that if someone comes after him, he's going to say, fine, you come after me, I'm going to release this to the public, and so he may get his hand slapped. He may be forced to retire, in disgrace. But I don't see him going to jail. I also don't see any Republicans taking his place because the Democrats in that city just seem to want to be shit on all the time, and they're going to continue to choose the Democrat to rule over them. I just don't see it happening. Uh, AOC, I don't see her, coming in as the mayor because right now she's making a shitload of money, doing what she's doing. Um, and so I don't see her making any big changes like that to go for mayor. Rudy, I would love to see him come back, and I think he'd make a good showing in a political race. But at the end of the day, I mean, he has so much financial woes going on with all the bankruptcy and shit he's experiencing. He's been disbarred because of whatever he did, which I think is bullshit. So you can see how a Republican says as Rudy. He took that city, he made it powerful, he made it wealthy, he made it safe, and then the Democrats, got whatever information, wherever it came from, whether it's real or not, I don't know. I think he was being sued because he came to Trump's help, and I think he might have said some things, whatever, that weren't true. I don't know. I think that's what it was, and he's being sued for defamation of character, blah 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 blah, and he had to sell everything off to pay off the fines, and he got disbarred. You don't see that happen on the Democrat side. You don't see them, losing their license. You don't see them, having to pay off fines for things they said. And God knows they say a lot, and that's why you have the assassination attempts on Trump. That's why you have the cities being burnt down because the Democrats can say whatever the hell they want and not face any charges. And I think that's also bullshit. I just think that come November, the Democrats are going to maintain control, and we're going to go to World War III. That's my projection, and I don't see it changing.
Yeah,
Michael, Diddy's a Democrat, and he's going against Democrats, and he's not Hillary Clinton going against Democrats. He obviously has evidence against people and can take them down, but is he actually in the long run going to get anybody to do anything other than bleach their internet accounts and people? Someone's going to take him out before too long because he's angering, for lack of the only words I can think of, the majesties of the music industry. Clive Davis acknowledges that he gave him Bad Boy Records, but then from the other side of his mouth says, yeah, I gave him Bad Boy Records, but I don't know him. I've never met him. I had nothing to do with him. I just gave him a record company.
yeah. Oh, a record company's only a title, but it's how within it functions. And
right.
we saw death and destruction there as well. Now, as far as Diddy's information, what they didn't get the first time, if they got anything the first time, because I really don't know. I mean, it's not really been public as to what was gotten. I can assure you that there is a Diddy squad that knows that even he was being pressured to do certain things for the others, the stronger. And that information does exist. It is out there. It's in other people's hands. They're being very quiet about it. And if the time comes and something happens to Diddy or they poison his food, then it will immediately come out. And I know that they have been trying to make, let's just say some people have been trying to make connections with some of the stronger voices who will be able to deliver the content to people in a better way. Again, it all comes down to the circle of events of everything and what the Democrats get away with. and everything that Randy was mentioning and that we all kind of, spoke about today. It's we're in dismay, and I don't know if we will hit World War III, because it seems like in the East last night it actually started when Iran started shooting missiles, and we started to send more people over there immediately following. They didn't want to listen to Joe to cease fire and we sit down at the table, because he did ask for that and they ignored him. So they have sent in the military, and Biden himself didn't address the country, but he had the one who is now running for, the election to be president, to give her a podium and make her look like a president,
Yeah.
as she narrated. As she narrated through what our next steps in America would be, and our retaliation would be like. And she made those comments and did a brief press briefing on it, as if she was the acting president. And they want her to have that role. They know that they are suffering in the polls so poorly that they need to make things change. And by putting her up there and not having Joe, but only saying, this is what the president wants to do, and this is what I will talk to you about, they still gave her that platform to make her a lookalike of what she could be, to try to fix and repair all the damage that we've all witnessed, through her speakings, her lies, and the disruptions that she's caused doing it all, and some of her commentary in the debate with Trump as well. She really, put a thorn in her own side in many ways. But again, probably being talked to, whether through an earphone or within verbal conversations, hiding with people in these gem cities, having these secrecy meetings and so forth. It makes you wonder, why did Zelensky have a private meeting with Trump? Not because of what it's all about money, of course. Yeah. Something's always about something of money, but at the same time, kissing ass for freedom on both sides.
Yeah.
Don't hold me responsible. I want the same thing you want. And when he went to them, what more do you need me to do? I need this $8 more billion dollars. So they're just draining our country of wealth we don't even have. It's a paper product of nothing. It means nothing.
Well, I could have swore I heard once Biden say, we are giving them all of this money so they will buy from our defense industrial complex. Meaning that if they ever stopped not buying from us, the money would stop. Because they obviously didn't have the money to do it. But then I ask everybody, okay, they're buying from us, and they're buying from us in record amounts. What happens if we need stuff to defend ourselves? Because obviously we're not going to have it.
See, that's what's happening. We sold off a whole shitload of our oil reserves, which is supposed to be kept back in times of military and times of a national emergency. For to keep the price of gas down, but in times of emergencies, that we have the oil to take care of ourselves as well as for the military. And now the military doesn't have enough oil that if we did actually go to war, they would run out, and that's bullshit. No one's going to come to our aid. They want to see the United States fail just as much as anybody else does.
I'd like to say one thing. We are drilling here, and we have capabilities to take care of our militaries. They're just not talking about where these actions are, where these frackings are, but there are things that are still pumping live in our country. Even someone that Randy, her family owned them, and she had just inherited the royalties to them. And it's somebody that you actually know. And I'm not joking about that. I myself know who takes from wells where I am. So we are still doing things. There are still licensings out there. There are grants out there.
You got to message me her name so I can reach out to her and ask for some money.
Yeah, don't send it. Don't discuss it. Send it privately between each other. Not only because I got an idea that I might know who it is, and I don't want to start anything with anybody. So
I have no idea who it is.
if it's who I think it is, Michael, she's more than welcome to come on and discuss it, or they are
I
more
didn't
than
say she.
okay. They're more than I did. They're more than welcome to come on and discuss it if they want. But I'm in enough trouble with enough people on Facebook.
But what I'm saying to you is I hear these things. I know they exist. I know the paperwork exists. I've actually been involved on open discussions on some of the criteria within the leases and the production leases and the companies that are, tracking the pumping capabilities of these stations that are put in place. We do have oil, and our military has oil. And if it comes down to it, FEMA was put into place to be able to control 15 things and narratives and issues. In wartime, they could go anywhere and take anybody's oil and become property to the government for such a long period of time. So these things are within our grasp. It's not as bad as what people think, but it is very bad because a pipeline would have took care of a lot of the measures of how we could have actually eliminated the bankruptcy of our country and the trillions of dollars that need to be paid down because other people own our country.
Right.
The Fed is owned by countries which own America.
Right.
Which means that's why they love the fact that all we're doing is paying the debt, not paying on the loan. It's like your credit card. If you pay $22 a month and you never stop paying $22 a month, you'll always be in their good grace. You will never pay down anything from your credit card, but they will always have their hand out to take the 22, because if they take the 22 over a period of 30 years and they still have the ownership of everything under the contract, where does that put you? In bankruptcy.
And eventually they'll give you more money because you're paying the 22 and you're being good every month. Or they'll
of course,
because you might give you more credit because you'll bury yourself even deeper.
Right, because if they gave them a piece of paper, it says as long as you keep doing this and paying us this much money, we'll let you own a couple, earn a couple pennies on the dollar or from your networking. So everybody's making money,
right?
Just in the wrong way.
So you don't ever think the IRS will go away, or either the Fed goes away and that knocks out the IRS, or the IRS goes away and that knocks out the Fed. I don't know exactly how it works. You don't think there will come a time where the Internal Revenue Service and the Fed, that America will actually stand up and just say, hey, we're not doing this anymore. The King of England's been dead for a long time. We're not paying his estate back money that we don't have. To me, this whole thing is still funny that the king funded both sides of the war. So he really didn't care who won.
Yeah, same with Prescott Bush. I mean, on one way, he funded through his power in politics, and the other way, he funded Germany single-handedly. Because why? This is the important part. Because Germany promised him anything that they got, retrieved, gold, artwork, etc., he would become and have part ownership and interest to all that. He got
Thank God for George Schwartz.
Yeah.
Georgie Schwartz. And that's, for those of you who don't know, that's the real name. The real last name of George Soros is George Schwartz.
Well, even Bushes have a different last name.
Oh no, I know. But George's father was a prominent Hungarian, by birth, Jewish lawyer. The family says he said they were non-observant Jews.
You've been listening to TikTok.
No, this is stuff that I've read. I've been a Jew for 62 years. Like most of us,
I
went pro at 13, and there is nothing in God's 10 Commandments, which is the rule book, that says anything about being a non-observant Jew, because the first commandment is, I'm your God. You will accept that I'm your God, and you will pray and worship me because I'm your God.
Yeah. Well, that's basically how
Right,
ancient rulers work
right,
too.
right.
They
But
they
George's
told people that
first
they
job evidently was riding his bike and leaving the death train notices in people's mailboxes. And then when they got on the trains and left, he got promoted to going through and inventorying their houses and making sure all the good stuff got sent up to
yeah.
the top ranking Nazis and the Fuhrer himself.
Well, a little bit beyond that, it went into
Okay.
uh, a different scenario of the Trilateral Commission.
Okay.
The early people who sat and came forth out of the solidarity of the Vatican. But you got to remember, when you look at a pyramid, it's also a description of levels, and
Yeah.
they talk about of the power of the families, and then who comes next, who comes next, who comes next, who's under them, who's under that one, who's under the next one, under that one, and there's levels of this tier of existence of what it is. That is another signification of what the pyramid is. It's from the high to the low, and all that are involved, and from above and below. And that's how they utilize that terminology. That's why it's been part of the example of what the importance of the paramedical pyramids mean. But they also have had other meaning to that too, which is ancient knowledge and so forth, and who was here. It gets into that too. But when you have the Trilateral Commission and the United Nations in 1917 to 1920 meeting behind closed doors on Jekyll Island in the dark, protected by military, you know that these meetings were so secretive. Very highly classified, secretive, even though they weren't classified under a government, but they were classified through their solidarity of people. And, again, it comes down to the fact of bloodlines in many ways, and that's truly what it is and how it works and how everything's laid out. We're witnessing it. We're living in it in real time.
Is there any truth to the rumor as far as the SS Secret Service name, but is there any truth to the rumor that after the war we brought in Hitler's SS?
Paperclip.
The real bad stormtrooper police, the black coats, the black leather jackets, that we brought them in here to set that up here. And I don't know if it was Republicans or Democrats, but our government basically brought that in to set that up. That's the origination of all these people, not necessarily, well, probably guarding the president, because those people guarded Hitler, of course. But is that true? There's so much to go on with other broadcasts. We have about 10 minutes left. I don't know if you guys want to wrap up statements, and you're both welcome back at any time. I have to wrap this up at 12 noon, so we have about 10 minutes left. I don't know if you guys want to divide the time and make closing statements or.
Oh, I'm good. Just let me say thanks for letting me be here. It's all fun. There's a lot more you can get into on these subjects, but
yep.
Touching base a little bit every day is helpful to people that aren't aware of some of the things and historical things that have taken place. And if they would be disappointed if they actually learned about them, but these things have happened around us, and you can agree to disagree, because a lot of people are caught in that catch-22 too. But I'll just say that thanks for letting me come on for a little bit. It was fun. I'm going to get out of here, Randy. Great times the other night. A lot of good, great comments. Just so you know, the feedbacks were good. The numbers were extremely high.
Okay.
Good.
Reaching out to people is what we need to continue to do, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Great.
See ya.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Michael Anthony, Studio 10, broadcasting 10 o'clock Talks America, disclosing uncensored. That's the big one you see around. It's not all political. Sometimes it's talking about Bigfoot. I enjoy watching that one. The paranormal broadcast that he does with Sean, I can't remember his name, but Sean, those broadcasts are very knowledgeable. And he has Eric the Healer, who has biomed.com. And Eric has an interest in time traveling. So if you catch those broadcasts with Michael, they can be very interesting too. Dr. Rhodes?
Yeah, I was hoping he'd stay on a little bit longer. Amongst everything else that is going on, uh, our nation and perhaps the world, I don't know, but our nation specifically has been experiencing an uptick in alien contact and videos of alien ships flying through the space and hovering and doing all that kinds of stuff. And just a little while ago, between Canada and the United States, they shot down a UFO. Um, Now they didn't speak on specificity as to what they called UFO, but they shot down UFO. And I'm thinking to myself, if that was an alien spacecraft that they shot down, what the hell are they thinking? That ship flew millions of miles to get here, and we're going to shoot them down. You don't think they might have a mothership somewhere or people at home looking for them, and when they realize they got they're not coming home, they'll send more ships. Find what the hell they did. Um, but going back to what I said about Elon Musk, talking about the spacecraft and alien creatures, for him to be aware of it, is amazing to me. Maybe that's why he's driving so much to make his space expedition to Mars a reality, because he wants to get out there and and make contact, let them know that we have the ability to fly in space as well. And I actually did do a real quick search on how long it would take to fly from here to Mars, and it's only a few days. It's not like it's not like years and years and years. Um, I think it was like 2 or 3. I think like 3 months to get from here to Mars, and that's what his dream is to.
Elon Musk is going to do it one day. Yep.
I think he will. I really do think he will.
Yep.
But keep in mind, folks, we're not alone in this vast galaxy. There are other people out there, and one of these days they're going to make contact, and hopefully it'll be a good contact, not one of sci-fi shows where they wipe out the world.
The War of the Worlds.
Yeah, or that, or I love Independence Day and these and the follow up to it. Those are pretty good shows. Who knows what they look like? I think Elon Musk does, but keep in mind, folks, we are not alone. God didn't just make one planet that has some kind of life on. I think there are others out there. They may not look like us. He may try a couple of different modes to print out. Hopefully we're I one of these days, and I hope to live long enough to see that contact.
On October 31st, Randy Rhodes is going to rip his mask off live on Boogie with the Bull and show who he really is.
Yeah. One of the days you'll see me swallowing a mouse, and you'll see. I'm a lizard guy.
As long as you don't eat a kitty live on a podcast, you're okay.
No, I'm not going to do that. I love the kitties.
I know. Let's see what else. Again, plug the broadcast. Tell everybody about genealogy.
Okay, so it's all roads, RHODES, leads to home genealogy, and on the roads, RHODES, to discover your ancestors. That's a broadcast I try to do every Sunday. This Sunday is going to be about Melvin Shane's ancestors. Two of them. One, he accused me of witchcraft. The other one is his ancestor was a national hero. There's a town named after him. There's a fort named after him, and so forth. I was actually some videos recreating him. Also, I do have slots for 2 on my schedule. I picked up a freebie because she's let me use her music, which I do a quick shout out, which is the Dixie Jubilee. That's the camera. Dixie Jubilee. They're allowing me to use their music in my broadcasts, which I appreciate. I did talk to them the other day. They are phenomenal people. I spoke to his son at length last night, and he's very happy with what I found so far about his ancestors. So check them out, Dixie Jubilee. That they are a Southern group. They love the South. They love everything about the South, and they sing a lot of Southern music. So I have 2 slots really open for my services. I only charge like around $5 an hour, and the reason why is I do get a disability check, so it's not like I'm living off of my fees from doing research like someone else who's charging $45 an hour. I love what I do. I get excited when I see things. And I do deep dive searches. So if you want to know something about your family, I will find it.
Randy Rhodes will find it. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Let's see, today is Wednesday. So tonight's the American Rebellion over on Wimkin and here on Facebook. I'm sure you're probably welcome. I can't say that I'm sure you're welcome because it's not my broadcast, but I'm sure you're welcome. And people should be over there watching. Let's see, tomorrow's Thursday. It's Thursday Night Live. Actually, no, excuse me, 12 p.m. Eastern. You want to be on Randy Rhodes' profile and catch Straight Talk with Jen and Randy.
Yep.
Talk with Jen and Randy. Then Thursday Night Live at 7 p.m. Eastern here on Facebook and on Boogie with a Bull YouTube channel. All right, Dr. Rhodes, you're going to push the button, or am I going to push?
I will do the honors since
You will
I
do
get
the
that on the
honors.
screen.
Okay.
And all I do is find it. There it is.
All right, Randy. All right, Randy Rhodes, All Roads Lead to Home Genealogy Services here on Facebook. You hear all about him. If you have any questions, you can't find him, get a hold of me, and I'll make sure Randy gets a hold of you. I want to thank Michael Anthony for stopping by. Anybody is welcome to join us on the broadcast. Unfortunately, being the no-budget broadcasting company, sometimes we run into a hitch that the email doesn't properly open the link, or we have to play around with Facebook Messenger to get the link to open. But you're more than welcome. I don't want to have the link on the screen because it takes up so much room on the screen that it just doesn't need to be there. So if you message me or ask me in the live chat on Dave Globin for the link, I will give you the link anytime. Everybody is welcome. Just respect the other people that are on. Don't interrupt anybody more than I do, and you'll be okay. And I have to apologize to everybody because I keep saying that's what I'm working on lately. And I did say to Jerry the other night that I don't think it's getting any better. And I didn't finish by saying it's actually getting worse. So we will discuss that tomorrow in my cognitive speaking and thinking class or session. That is something that I need to work on. But let's see. One more time, we'll do a check and see. Actually, I had really good numbers for today. I'm really impressed. 251 people watching, 76 shares on Facebook. Anyone else, if you're watching, put a thumbs up on the broadcast if you liked it, and share. If you didn't like it, put an angry face on it. Say why you didn't like it, and share anyway. Because I've learned 2 things. People will watch if their friend says they should watch. People will watch if their friends say they didn't like it. A lot of people will watch to see why people didn't like it. So it's kind of works both ways. But 251 people watched the broadcast live today. Last night we had Tuesday Night Live with, let's see, I was there, Jen was there, Jerry was there, Randy Rhodes popped in. I don't think anybody else popped in. 53 shares up to 586 people watching right now. So we're in no way live, but I'm very happy that people are watching. So like I said, if you want to be on the broadcast, please let me know. Come into the live chat and let us know. Send me a message that you want to be on, and you're more than welcome to come on. We have 10 camera slots available, so it's me and 9 others. And if you decide that you want to do it, whenever we do it, 10 a.m. Monday and Wednesday mornings, Morning Caffeine, 7 p.m. Tuesday and Thursday evenings. And on the Saturdays, at a rare Saturday morning, Boogie with the Bull is on at 10 o'clock. You're more than welcome to join us there as well. I actually don't know if there's going to be a rare Saturday morning Boogie with the Bull on Saturday. I always say that there will be because there's a craft show, so I have the bedroom studio if I want to do so, but I'm actually not sure. Or maybe a little bit later than 10 o'clock in the morning. So, Tina, you have a great day. Tina Scott watched, and David Novar watched, and I watched, and Chuck Cook watched, and that's who I see watched. Jay Clark watched. I don't know if he ever came into the live chat, but we did say good morning to Jay. And I always say it. If I see that you're watching, I'm going to say something to you, welcoming you for watching, and I'm going to comment in the live chat, thank you for watching, because I hope you'll come into the live chat and get involved. Say what's on your mind so that you're not always hearing what is on my mind. Having a whole lot of fun lately. Like I said, the views are going up, but it started to say 53 shares, 587 total views for Tuesday Night Live, which is actually, it was pretty good. It broke 300, I think, last night before the podcast posted. So I'm very happy people are watching. Do me one favor, as I said. Every once in a while, go over to the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel. Even if you watch it live on Facebook, go over to the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel and watch it there so that YouTube sees views and they'll decide that they want to just leave it there. They have been like, all I can say is like saints. They haven't, we've done things in just about every broadcast in the last year and a half, and have not gotten into any trouble with YouTube for doing them. So it's either they're not paying attention to us or they're just letting us go and trying to see if maybe we can grow 1,000 viewers who watch all the time. Not looking for the money. Again, not looking for the money. Just looking to know that we're on YouTube and people are watching us. We're here on Facebook. I know people are watching us. Wimkin will probably become a possibility. Nothing's going to become a possibility until a couple of days from now when I find out if we can upgrade the old Chromebook, which we did use today, and it didn't give us any problem except for a bug in Restream during the setup of the studio, and we're doing our best to help them to help us try to figure out how to resolve it. I still think Restream is the best. It is the least expensive. If you're on StreamYard, you paid your September bill, and if you go back and look at billing, it'll show you're now paying $45 a month for October, and you got to see everything that you get in October for $45, which incidentally is pretty much 99.2% of what you were already getting for $25. Come over to Restream and get it for $19. And for $19, you actually get full HD. You actually get full HD broadcasting. So if that's important to you, then go to Restream. It's just as easy to learn how to use as Facebook. As StreamYard is. Stay away from Facebook Live Producer. That's the last thing I'm going to say. Stay away from Facebook Live Producer, because when you see Facebook spanking you and it says you cannot go live, it just means that you can't use Facebook Live Producer for however long you got spanked. That's why we don't use Facebook Live Producer, because Mark Zuckerberg can giveth you the right to go live, and Mark Zuckerberg can taketh away the right for you to go live anytime he wants. Vote, vote, vote. Again, I don't care who you vote for. I don't care what party in America you register and vote for, or don't, or declare yourself an independent. Vote. Okay? That is the most important thing you have to do as an American citizen once you reach age 18, is to vote, vote, vote. Okay, and I can't tell you. If you can vote early, vote early. If you can't vote early, caravan with your neighbors. Ask someone who's going to vote to come and pick you up, and I'm sure they will, and take you. Pay attention to Uber, because usually Uber will come and pick you up and take you to the polls. I don't know if they will come back and get you. They will not wait for you, but they will take you and drop you off. I don't know if they bring you home. You can go to uber.com and look it up, and it will tell you whether or not they can do that. Also, if you live in a city that has a cab company, sometimes the cab companies in your city will pick you up and get you to the polls and probably get you home. I can't guarantee it. If you live in Waltham, Massachusetts, they do. They will. Some of the cab companies will. Not all of them. So go vote, either early, by mail, or at the polls. Just go vote. Don't care who you vote for. I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. People on the broadcast today, Michael and Randy, are going to vote for Donald Trump. Most of the people that you see on Boogie with the Bull broadcast are going to vote for Donald Trump. Most of the people in the live chat are going to vote for Donald Trump. But you do what you think is right for you. That's what I've been saying all along. Okay? I'm not going to tell you why you shouldn't vote for Kamala Harris, but you'll hear me say why I'm not going to vote for Kamala Harris. I'm not going to vote for Tim Walz because I think he's a complete buffoon, and I wouldn't want to risk that something happens to Kamala Harris and Vice President Walz becomes president. I just don't believe it. I just don't want to do it. And the main reason that I will not vote for Tim Walz is that Tim Walz, as governor of Minnesota, was given $250 million in COVID relief funds from the Biden administration to help people in the state of Minnesota get over COVID-19. The money was given to an organization called Feed Our Future, and the only futures they fed were their own. They bought fancy cars, they bought property in Turkey, and one other place outside of the United States that had nothing to do with helping hardworking American citizens recover from COVID-19 or protect themselves from COVID-19. So that pretty much tells me that I wouldn't trust Vice President Walz with having control over budgets that send money to states for anything. Okay? And yes, there have been Republican presidents and vice presidents and governors that have probably done the same thing, and they're just as equally as bad. But I'm not talking about them right now. I'm talking about Governor Walz, who's a Democrat who has been in contact with the House Judiciary Committee and the House Education and something else committee, and is being investigated, and says that the only reason he continued giving the $250 million to Feed Our Future is because Feed Our Future took him to court and won, and the money ended up having to go to them. So another fine example of how your Democrat government worked and you got screwed. $250 million of your tax dollars didn't go to fund COVID-19. Getting over it and dealing with it. So if that's what you want in the White House, by all means, you go vote for them. Also, where were they? Where have they been in states that suffered tragic losses with Hurricane Helene? Joe Biden said yesterday he commanded 2 hours by phone, don't know where, but 2 hours by phone yesterday and 2 hours by phone the day before. It's the President of the United States. You can't govern for 2 hours. Okay? You can't govern for 2 hours. You can't work 2 hours a day doing your job. It's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, 365-day-a-year job that you took on. And if you can't do the job, then get out of it. Okay? Don't turn it over to the vice president. Don't turn it over to anybody else. If you can't do it, say, I can't do it, step down and leave. Okay? Because the Democrats that elected you and the Republicans that might have elected you too are expecting you to do a job that obviously you can't do. Anyway, on that note, you've been watching Boogie with the Bull, Wednesday Morning Caffeine, a copyrighted presentation of the No Budget Broadcasting Company. You can take the broadcast, any portion of the broadcast, do whatever you want with it. And I just hope that you invite me to be on your broadcast if you do that so that I can laugh at whatever you did and try to explain myself. Or come watch and tell me that you saw it somewhere and we'll just laugh about it, okay? Because if you can't laugh at yourself, who can you laugh at? And you shouldn't laugh at anybody else if you can't laugh at yourself. But that's all I have to say on that note. It is about 12:15 wherever you are. We started late. We started at about 10:15 because we had a problem with Restream trying to get it set up. I still think they're the best, and it's an easy problem that you just have to work with. Allow a few extra minutes when you set up your studio before you go live, and you won't have any problem. But neither here nor there. Vote, and listen to people and form your own opinion. So like I said, tonight, 7 o'clock, over on the American Rebellion group and blogger page here on Facebook, and over on the American Rebellion page over on Winkin. Watch the American Rebellion. I believe I will be there. I believe Jen Woodruff will be there. I know Jerry Michaels will be there. It's his broadcast. If you want to come on, Jerry always says, be in the live chat, ask him for the link, and he'll send you the link, and come on. You know, the more you hear, the more you learn. The more you learn, the more you think, and then you do what is right for you. Anyway, I want to thank you for the privilege of letting me abuse your time this morning. And one more final check. Just for the hell of it. 270 people are watching right now, which means about 540 people should be watching by the time it hits the podcast in about 15 minutes. Share. That's all I can say. Watch is all I can say. Facebook hasn't bothered me in about 6 months for doing anything wrong. Like I said, YouTube hasn't bothered me in over a year and a half, and I know we do things wrong as far as YouTube is concerned almost every day. But, you know, so watch on both. You know, like I said, watch on Facebook here on my profile one day, then go over to the YouTube channel and watch over there, or just have watch parties and watch on YouTube, watch on Facebook. Some nights when I'm on the American Rebellion, I watch on both because the Wimkin live chat is fun to be in. The Facebook live chat is fun to be in. But anyway, it's time to go put my laundry away, change my clothes, and we have to go out and run errands and other stuff that we have to do. Maybe I'll take my wife to lunch today. You didn't hear that. Tell her. More information in the next Boogie with the Bull broadcast. Anyway, fly back up. Double V's for victory. This Boogie with the Bull.